Okay, so it's just going to say find the area of triangle ABC. All right, so like I said before, as long as I have whatever angle I have, which I have angle B, I have to have the other two sides. So I have A, B, and C. As long as you have all three pieces, then that means this is going to work. So I'm going to set this up as area equals 1/2 side side. So in this case, that's A and C, sine B. So 1/2 34 times 42 sine 55.2. And then you just plug that in the calculator. And I just typed it in 1/2, or I put 0.5, 34 times 42 sine of 55.2. So just like that. And I got 586.3. And that would be square feet because this is area. That's it. So those are super, super, super easy. So y'all don't miss those because you forgot the formulas. So this section is divided into 2 separate homework assignments, and that is all for part 1. So, and it's already open. And I went ahead and opened part 2 because I didn't know how far we would get. So, and I guess I can go ahead and start because I don't know where we'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow is the U.S. history test. So some of you will be taking the U.S. history test. And so we won't be in here tomorrow. So we'll be back in here on Thursday. So what that does probably mean is we probably will go ahead and we'll have to have a notes day on Friday because we didn't have Monday and we won't have tomorrow. So we'll have to do notes Thursday and Friday because we have to do 8-1 and 8-2. 8-2's it's easy, but I'm just going to keep going because we have about 10 more minutes, and so I might as well keep going for the second part. Okay, so so here's the only thing about law of sines that makes this slightly difficult. Is that sine can produce for us some issues. So you remember when we plug in the calculator, our calculator, and we plug inverse sine of something, it gives us one angle out. But we learned earlier in the year, there's not always only one angle there. It's only going to give us usually the quadrant 1 acute angle. But there's usually an obtuse angle that's got those same 2 side measurements. And the calculator's not going to give you that. So when we're using law of sines, you have to keep that in mind, that it's possible that there's more than one angle that's happening where you're solving. So let me give you some basic rules. If angle A is acute, okay, so if you look at the information you've been given, and angle A is acute, meaning less than 90, and side B is bigger than A, and it results in sine of B. Now, like that's when you actually plug sine of B in the calculator, being greater than 1, it means there's no solution. Now, this one is actually easy Because if we were to go do this one in our calculator would give us a domain error. So this one, and this is called, well, the whole, I'll tell you in just a minute. The reason I'm telling you this though is because sometimes when we put stuff in our calculator and it gives us a domain error, we think we've put something in wrong. That's not the case when you're doing this. If you get a domain error, it just means there is actually no triangle that exists like that. Because of, if you remember back to geometry, and I know that was a long time ago, but in geometry, we learned what's called the triangle inequality theorem. Two sides of a triangle always have to add up to be greater than the third side. If they're not, that means that triangle doesn't exist. So they'll give us these problems and not, or sometimes they will draw a picture, but they'll give you these problems and they'll tell you, hey, this is the angle and the side and the side. And that triangle can't even exist because it wouldn't close. You know, like it would be like a long line and then these two little lines like that. And it can't make a triangle because literally the sides are not long enough to point together. So that one will give you a domain error on the calculator. So that one's pretty easy. If you have if angle A is acute, side A is either greater than or equal to side B, and sine of B is less than 1, then that means there's a single solution. There's one triangle that exists with those particular things. If angle A is acute and side length H is less than A, which is less than B, so you've got the side lengths the way that they should be, and sine is less than 1, that means you actually have two triangles, an acute triangle and an obtuse triangle. Now, I'm going to show you, there are other scenarios. I'm not going to write them all out because I'm going to show you how to figure it out without having to memorize every single scenario, because there's actually 6 of them, 6 possible cases or 6 scenarios. So instead, let's figure out how we can solve this. So if I have all right, so I've been given this information. I'm going to set it up just exactly like we did a minute ago. I am going to set up a triangle, label it ABC. Don't worry about it being drawn to scale or not. They gave me angle B is 55.5, and I have side B is 8.94. So I have a completed ratio, which means I can use the law of sines. And then they gave me 25.1 as side A. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is solve for sine of angle A. Because I don't have the third angle, I can't do what we did a minute ago and subtract from 180. So I'm going to solve for angle A. Now, this is the first time we've done one where we're solving for an angle. So I'm going to put angle A on top because that's what I'm looking for. So that means angles are going on top this time. So I'm going to do sine of B, which is 55.5, over side B, which is 8.94, equals sine of angle A over 25.1. Is everybody okay so far with the setup? This one's going to be slightly different. Okay, so now the goal here is for me to get big A by itself, angle A by itself. So I'm going to just do a little bit of algebra. So first I'm going to multiply both sides by 25.1. So now I have 25.1 times sine of 55.5, and that's all over 8.94. And that equals sine of A. Now, before I go any further, this is the degree. Are y'all okay so far? Just algebra. Now, I need to get big A by itself. And right now it has sine with it. So how do I get rid of sine? I don't divide by sine. Arc sine. You're going to arc sine. So I'm going to arc sine both sides. And that is what I'm going to put in my calculator. Because that'll give me angle A. All right, so I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to type in arc sine. And then I'm going to write this just as a big fraction. See if you can see that. 25.1 sine 55.5 over 8.94. Now, right here, and I don't know because I haven't done this one yet, if it gives me a domain error, I didn't do anything wrong. It just means this triangle can't exist. So there is no triangle. Because it's not possible. So you didn't do anything wrong. We have a situation that can't happen. Are y'all okay? All right, we're going to run out of time before I can show you triangles that will happen. But we will pick up with that on Thursday.